Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing secondary inspection in the context of immigrant spouse visas as well as non-immigrant spouse visas. We're talking about the K-3, CR-1, or IR-1 visa. What is secondary inspection? Well, secondary inspection is what happens when you're going through a checkpoint at U.S. Customs and Border Protection in the United States and they pull you out of the line and they say, okay, we're going to take you to this other room, or maybe we'll take you over to this other window where there's nobody at. And they go through a more thorough, for lack of a better term, investigation, but that's not really, in this context, as I'll get to, exactly the right term. But basically, they're doing a more thorough interview, if you will, as they admit you into the USA. Generally speaking, where you're talking about a spouse who's never been to the U.S. and this visa is their first U.S. visa, generally speaking, secondary inspection is not something to worry about. And why is that? Well, it is kind of common because oftentimes being admitted in immigrant spouse status or non-immigrant spouse status requires extra protocols on the part of the USCBP official admitting you to the USA. And as a result, they basically say, hey, we need to really double check and make sure to dot all the I's, cross all the T's when admitting you, because we're admitting you into lawful permanent residence in the case of the CR-1 or the IR-1 visa, or the K-3 visa, which they're admitting you for non-immigrant status, but you have the ability to adjust status to permanent residence in the United States. So effectively, you're treated as if you were an immigrant. And that initial admission, they have extra things they have to do that aren't the usual protocol associated with just being admitted to the USA. So again, they may pull you aside. Don't necessarily get worried about this. Yes, secondary inspection oftentimes can be used for things like interrogation and inspection or investigation, and they may be somewhat assertive in those kinds of proceedings. But that said, if it's just somebody being admitted for the first time in immigrant status to the United States, secondary inspection, generally speaking, is not something to overly worry about.